Hi everyone. I wanted to send out a quick video on how to have a successful week number one in our Introduction to Christian Ethics course. So if you haven't already downloaded the syllabus, you want to download that from your homepage in the course on Canvas and then take a look at the readings and the structure of the course. It will take maybe 2 to 3 weeks to get the rhythm of the course down, but let me give you kind of a general idea of what this will look like. So you will have readings each week, except for a couple of weeks where you're assigned a certain number of pages to read. You read all those pages throughout the week, and then at the end of the week, you have a quiz on that reading, and then you have a journal reflection on your reading. The quiz is a simple how much of the reading have you completed on time, and you fill out 100%, 90%, 80%, etc. And then the journal reflection is just your reflections. It's not a summary of the book or the readings. It's just a journal reflection on what you thought of it, what you liked about it, what questions you might have about it, a few quibbles, etc., or how it might apply to your life. So that is the quiz and the journal. And each week you'll have something like that at the end of the week on Friday to submit in the course. For week number one, you have a couple of readings. The first one is chapters 5 through 7 of the book Kingdom Ethics, written by Glenn Stassen and David Gushee, both friends of mine. Glenn has passed away, but both Glenn was my advisor. And so you can find that book online in the library. And then the second is part one of Old Testament ethics for the people of God. So we're trying to get a feel for different ethical methods and get started as we kind of get started in the class. And that'll give you a range of different methodologies. So Kingdom Ethics will look at the Sermon on the Mount and begin to develop a Christian ethic out of that. And then Christopher Wright's book, Old Testament Ethics for the People of God, will kind of take a little more narrative approach. And we'll look at those two different kinds of approaches throughout the course of our class. So those are your reading assignments. That's what your quiz will be on for the first week and your journal reflection. This week is a little different than most because you have 3 entries that you need to do. The first one is an introduction form where you're just introducing yourself, answer a few questions, get to know people in the class, and then allow the people to in the class to get to know you. So that's the introduction form. The second discussion that we're going to have is kind of a 5 dates in history discussion. And what I'm looking for there is what dates or what people or what events shaped our understanding of ethics in general or Christian ethics in particular over the course of of history. And so we just want to put our conversation about Christian ethics in a historical context, because the questions that we're asking today come from somewhere. They just aren't invented right now. They come from a history, both in the church and outside of the church. And so we want to just get a feel for that. And please don't worry about getting the right answers. And please don't worry about making it really comprehensive. This is just a way to kind of get the conversation started, get thinking about Christian ethics, get to know a few people in your group because it's a group discussion, and then just have a conversation about that in your group. So please don't worry about that too much, but just jump in there and contribute a little bit. And then the third thing is what I said earlier is the journal reflection. So those 3 things are what you need to concentrate on as you think about discussions for this week. And then, of course, the readings. Things that are coming up. You will have first week what I just described. The second week you'll have some more readings from Moral Vision of the New Testament specifically. The third week I think we'll look at ethics from the margins, and then the fourth week you will have a Précis assignment. And so you have a list in your syllabus of parallel track readings, 5 books that you can choose from in order to write your Précis. And I will also post a sample Précis on Moral Vision of the New Testament after week 2. So it kind of gives a summary of what you've already read, and then it also gives you an example of a Précis that you can look at and kind of model your work after. What I'm looking for specifically in the Précis is a summary of the author's argument in the book. But it's a summary in your own words. So you want to avoid too many quotations. I would say maybe 2 to 3 quotations throughout the 3-page paper. You cannot go over 3 pages. It won't be accepted if you do. And then also no value judgments. So a value judgment is something like in Reggie Williams' excellent book, Bonhoeffer's Black Jesus. That's a value judgment. I want you to do your best to summarize the argument of the book in such a way that if we were to talk to Reggie or Dr. Williams, he would say, yeah, you understand what I tried to write in that book. Or if one of the options is Strength to Love, the same way with Strength to Love. It's a collection of several sermons of Martin Luther King Jr.'s sermons that he's given. And so what you want to do, and it's been collected into a book, and so what you want to do is find the common themes throughout those sermons. There's a reason why they collected those specific sermons into this book titled Strength to Love. So you want to look at that and try to capture that the best that you can in your own words. And so that's the Précy assignment. I'll also have some office hours to, if you have more questions about that, throughout the first couple of weeks, so you can ask questions. So you'll want to decide on the book that you want to read for your Précy assignment, and if you have a little extra space, you can get started on that book. Reading is a little bit lighter on week 3, and I've designed it that way so that you all can have a little more space for your book, but you have basically a week to read the book and then write a 3-page Précy on the book. So those are the things in anticipation for the upcoming weeks 1 through 4. I will say that the course is a little heavy on theory as we kind of make some definitions, provide some frameworks, and then begin to work more into application in weeks after the Précy in weeks 5 through 10. That will include a group project. I know everybody hates group projects, but they are really great in a pedagogical sense, and they're also really great in getting to know one another. And there'll be, you don't have to worry about that right now, but I'll have a lot of instructions for that as well. And then also the major assignment, another major assignment is your final paper, which will be a 10 to 15 page research paper on the topic of your choosing. And I specifically leave that vague over the course of our class together, so that if there's a topic that interests you, whether it's one that you did in the group project or another group did, or one that you've been thinking about or interested in or applies to your specific ministry context, then you can choose that topic and then write on that as your research paper. And so as the course goes along, you'll be thinking about what could I be writing for my final paper. For those of you that are maybe academically writing for the first time, or you need a little brush up on writing, I would suggest, this is not a required textbook, but I would suggest Heather Holleman's book, How to Write with Flair. It's a really thin book on writing and the importance of active sentences and active verbs, punctuation, those kinds of things. And it's probably the most readable book on this kind of stuff that I've read, and I read it every year at least once. Heather is a friend of mine. She teaches creative writing at Penn State University, and so she does a great job kind of keeping your attention for a grammar and writing book. So if you kind of have questions about that, you can always ask me, but you can also purchase her book, How to Write with Flair, and I think is a great resource for your academic career. Really looking forward to getting to know you all. If you have questions, please feel free to email me, text me, or give me a call, and I'm happy to answer those. And again, the rhythm is reading, quiz, journal reflection, and then reading each other's journal reflections and commenting on them before the next week starts. So that's what it'll look like. Don't worry if you don't get it right the first couple of weeks. It takes 1 or 2 weeks to get the rhythm down, but it will come and it won't be a problem. So yeah, really looking forward to it, and we'll see you kind of on Monday.